Some moments are so unbelievable, you'd swear they were scripted. But luckily, the camera doesn't lie.
Nope.
Get ready for the most mind-blowing, jaw-dropping, and downright incredible footage ever captured. Smooth recovery, my guy. 1 second he's flying off the treadmill, the next he's rebranding his fall as an extreme workout. If confidence were a sport, he'd take gold. Well, if someone says women aren't powerful, just show them this. Everyone bends to their will. Nothing stings quite like nature undoing all your hard work. The snow waited patiently, then struck when the moment was right. Absolute villain behavior. If I were the woman, I wouldn't even step out of the house after this one. Nothing screams, "I need a vacation," like obliterating your own workspace. That wasn't just frustration, that was years of bad emails catching up at once. And that's your sign to go to anti-work the next minute you feel burned out.
What's the matter with you?
Forget dragons. This guy just turned into a budget flamethrower. One sneeze and boom. Someone get him a tissue before he burns the place down. I'm still trying to understand what happened. Achoo! This sneeze didn't just clear his sinuses, it introduced his forehead to gravity. As for him, the poor guy added head trauma to his allergy season. Man, talk about unfortunate timing. This is what happens when you pull an all-nighter and then have to make footlongs for minimum wage. 1 second you're spreading mayo, the next you're face first in someone's lunch. Hope they like a little extra seasoning.
Hello again, dumbbell. I appear to have burst into flames.
Fire!
The cat, this is fine. The dog, this is not fine. This might be the greatest representation of their personalities. One is pure chaos, and the other is so over it that even spontaneous combustion doesn't faze them. And that's why cats rule everything.
It's not possible! How could this happen?
These skateboarders were headed for what you call disaster. But maybe it's better we call him Dr. Strange because he ran all scenarios in his head and came up with the one they'd both be okay. As for the girl, it's safe to say she's going home with an awesome story.
I look so beautiful.
The next time you're tempted to praise yourself out in public, expect something even when you're seemingly alone.
I look so beautiful.
The duck didn't have to do her like that. This wasn't just a laugh, it was a full-on roast. Some animals have zero chill. Dancing in a bull ring is already a terrible idea. Turning your back on the bull? Even worse. Accidentally dodging it like a trained matador? That's just dumb luck at its finest. Looks like God compensated his stupidity for sheer luck. Forget Captain America. This guy just barehanded a moving car like it was nothing. Was it skill? Was it adrenaline? Or was it sheer refusal to let winter win? Either way, physics is going to need a minute to process this. That Jeep just did the automotive equivalent of almost failing a test, but getting a last-minute curb. 1 second, it's tipping into the void. The next, it's back on track like nothing happened. But if I were the passenger, I'd be halfway to heaven by now. The trick? A disaster. The recovery? A masterpiece. He wiped out harder than a Windows update, yet somehow snatched the board out of thin air like it was all part of the plan. If only his landing was as smooth as his reflexes, we'd be watching a highlight reel instead of a near miss. If a croc sees a moving object, it bites. Those are just the rules. Except this time, it picked a literal tire. Imagine its confusion when its meal just kept rolling.
Oh, that was a big ass
Alligator just bit our tire! Somewhere, a nature documentary narrator is losing their mind trying to explain this moment. Jenga is a game of patience and strategy, but this guy said, what if I just straight up commit violence instead? One punch later, the block flies out and the tower stays standing like it just witnessed a crime and doesn't want to snitch. This kid just speed ran How to Outsmart Your Sibling 101. The door was shutting, the stakes were high, and that last second jacket toss? Absolute genius, future heist leader in the making. The mice are throwing paws and this cat is just taking notes. It could step in any time, but it's too invested in the drama. Someone get this cat a commentator contract because it's watching like it has money on the fight. Or maybe Mr. Whiskers thought he'd take the winner and the loser, kind of like having his cake and eating it too. We have finally defeated science fiction. Invisible cloaks are real now, and this guy just vanished like a video game glitch. This man is basically a real-life NPC despawning. If this tech gets better, hide and seek will be unplayable. Science has officially gone too far, and I love it. She didn't even flinch as she hit the tray, perfectly timed. The ice cubes landed precisely in the glass. It was one of those moments where everything just fell into place like it was meant to happen. Boy, she is luckier than Zeus finding a match. The man wasn't about to let a dumb decision and sheer terrifying height stop him from rescuing the cat. He fashioned a hammock and used it to safely bring the cat back. It is the perfect combination of quick thinking and compassion. This isn't how pizza was meant to be cooked, but I wish it was. A pizza toss from the distance of a lifetime, and it lands perfectly inside the oven. If this was a movie, she'd have a slow motion entrance. The woman just couldn't get away from the persistent goose. Every time she tried, it tackled her, and when she thought she was safe, it followed right inside the car. Talk about a literal wild goose chase. On the shore, two reptiles wrap themselves around each other, their bodies intertwining in a gentle embrace. It's a surprising yet beautiful sight in the animal kingdom. Boy, and I thought I'd be jealous from humans smooching each other. The chances of a cow stealing your shoes are slim, but never zero. Move over, sneakerheads. This cow saw shoes, tried them on, and walked off like it was a runway. Respect the hustle.
Bye, have a great time.
Smooth getaway? Not today. This phone thief sprinted for freedom only to get humbled by a locked door. Well, clearly the real security system was common sense, and he didn't have it.
What made you decide forced to do it? I'm calling the police right now.
Imagine betting on a horse, turning around, and there she is. Talk about customer service. This racehorse came to check if you believed in her. Either that, or it's the horse's way of telling them it's no longer in the race. Pretty neat. At this point, we need new bowling rules. If you can pull off a headstand and a strike, you should get 2 turns in a row by default. Somewhere, a professional bowler just retired. This wasn't just any hat throw, it was a perfect, flawless shot. The man plucked the hat off, and with a single toss, it landed perfectly on another guy's head. Like a scene from a comedy skit. But it was all real. The bull tried to make a point, but things went a bit out of control when it flipped. But against all odds, it landed safely. Nature's resilience at its finest. Maybe cow tipping should have a whole different definition. A deer scored a football through a net, then celebrated by jumping on its hind legs and kicking the air with excitement. The goal was almost like a perfect shot, and the deer clearly enjoyed its success, prancing around afterward.
Ahí lo tiene Marabona, lo marcan dos, pisa la pelota Marabona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial. El tercero a tocar para Borruchaga, siempre Marabona. Genio.
The man was running like a madman with cops hot on his tail. The bike zoomed through the street, every twist and turn pushing the chase to the edge. It was more than just a getaway, it was an adrenaline-fueled race with the stakes high. The target never stood a chance. Her almost didn't either. That axe refused to follow the rules and came straight back at her like an angry boomerang. Good reflexes, though. If dodging axes was a sport, she'd be gold medal material. Some people have main character energy. This woman, she might be Zeus's long-lost cousin.
Want to see something cool? Watch this.
One dramatic point, and the sky literally answered. Hey, maybe all women are capable of it. We better be on our best behavior. When you make the mistake of wearing your favorite Jimmy Choo's and Prada outfit in a place like this, there's no way you're letting even a drop get to you. This woman was so determined to stay dry, she held on to dear life like she was genuinely made of firm strength. Hats off to her, we'd have been dunked within seconds. There's falling with style, and then there's almost falling and making it look intentional. She didn't just save herself from getting soaked, she saved herself from a lifetime of replaying that moment in her head at 2 a.m. One guy tripped, the cake took flight, and the second guy activated Ultra Instinct to catch it mid-air. The reflexes? Legendary. The real question is, did they still eat it? Because after that performance, the cake deserves an award. This is beer pong on steroids. Acuna just tossed that ball straight into a fan's beer cup, and let's be real, that's the ultimate sports crossover. Somewhere every baseball fan just lost their minds. But hey, that's how you know the Venezuelan baseball outfielder was chosen on merit. Who says Southerners can't handle snow? While most of us are struggling to park our cars without snow, this guy managed to parallel park like he was born to ride the ice. Elsa here is showing off and putting us all down in one parking go. This is either the most extreme way to exit a slide or a genius way to make recess unforgettable. These skydivers just turned the playground into a launch pad, proving that fun doesn't always require altitude. Just a little creativity and a lot of courage. Imagine watching your country about to make history and then brrr. Duty calls. These Croatian firefighters didn't even flinch, proving that real heroes don't wait for replays. But hey, maybe that's why Croatia took the win that day. It's a nation of people that never really disappoint. This man started falling, reconsidered life, and just respawned back on the wheel. Even the laws of balance are confused. Somewhere, a physics professor is having a mild existential crisis, but this is your cue not to do anything like the sort.
In the world, my dude.
Customer service rule number 1. The customer is always right, even if the customer seems to have pretty outdated currency. Fast food workers have seen it all, but this? A raccoon placing an order like it's just another Tuesday? He didn't even need cash, just those puppy dog eyes and sheer audacity. The future is now. First it was self-checkout, now it's self-entry. Next thing you know, this dog will be paying rent. But hey, pretty smart of the doggo to let its owners know they've yet to let Mr. Furry Paws in. Timing this perfect shouldn't even be possible. This sneeze had the power of Thor behind it. Imagine if they coughed. The cake went airborne, friendship was tested, and the greatest catch of all time was made. Someone call ESPN because this deserves a highlight reel. Who needs a quarterback when you've got Cake Hands McGee over here? This man took catch and release personally. The fish slipped away, but instead of accepting defeat, he dove in like Aquaman on a mission. Somewhere, other fishermen are watching in awe, questioning their life choices. They say baseball is all about fast reflexes, but this? What? This was spider sense levels of awareness. One more second and someone was getting a free trip to the hospital. Instead, we got a highlight reel moment. Some kids dream of moments like this. The other team looked like it had won, especially since it was only 10 seconds until game over. But then comes this kid who just casually pulled off a shot from the other end of the court like it was no big deal. Somewhere, an NBA scout is furiously taking notes. Skiing is supposed to be relaxing, not a survival sport. This guy wasn't just hitting the slopes, he was running for his life, and somehow he made it look smooth. But hey, don't go on taking this for inspiration. If he weren't skilled, he'd be a popsicle somewhere in there. One wrong move and this would have been a very different video. But nope, this driver casually made a death-defying U-turn like he does this every morning on the way to work. Now, I can't say he didn't do it expertly, but this guy played with my heart and anxiety like he was a child holding a toy.
Nice.
He thought he could stand his ground against 109-mile-per-hour winds, but the wind had other plans. One moment he's bracing like a superhero, the next he's airborne like a purely secured lawn chair in a storm. Somewhere, a weather reporter is nodding in approval. It's like two NPCs in a video game stuck in a loop. One backs up, the other follows, and they just keep missing. Honestly, at this point, the universe is actively helping them. It's either dumb luck or divine intervention. Probably both. Somewhere, a superhero is preparing for battle, completely unaware that their greatest enemy is a stork. And honestly, with that dramatic stance, I'd listen to whatever speech it's about to give. It probably involves revenge and a very specific grudge against bread-throwing humans. This isn't just a bad throw. This is a boomerang. Bowling is supposed to be about sending the ball away, but this one decided, actually, I live here now.
Oh my!
Even the pins are confused. That ball took one look at the lane and said, nope, let's go back. Honestly, this should count as a reverse spare. The axe saw the target and went, I'll allow it, but barely.
That actually takes more skill.
How have you done this, Julia?
Somewhere, an axe-throwing instructor just sighed so hard they lost consciousness. But honestly, I'm just so impressed because this is definitely a one-in-a-million kind of moment. If there was ever a mic drop moment in bowling, this is it. The ball didn't just roll, it went out with a bang. The pins fell not from impact, but out of sheer respect. As for the ball, it's almost like it really wanted to go halvesies on the win. When the food is fire, but the chef's got actual fire on the stove. So they hit a quick routine before going back to flipping steaks. Honestly, if your kitchen staff isn't breaking it down between orders, is the food even seasoned properly? This kid had to make 4 shots in 25 seconds to win $10,000. This wasn't luck, this was destiny. The buzzer beater energy? Off the charts. Someone get this kid a sponsorship deal because that level of composure is priceless and worth the NBA's attention. Imagine minding your business in midair and a giant bird just casually lands on you.
Aí, garoto!
The vulture probably thought, finally, a taxi service for birds. Meanwhile, this guy is internally screaming at his luck and his safety. This wasn't just skill, this was sorcery. Jenga physics shouldn't allow this, yet here we are. That tower defied everything we know about balance and is probably plotting revenge for later. It's like signing an NDA with gravity. Most people see a charging bear and start writing their will. This guy told it to back off and it actually listened. Either he's the bravest man alive, or that bear just wasn't in the mood for nonsense. Who needs pesticides when you have lightning-fast reflexes? This guy is single-handedly dismantling hornets like an action movie hero. Somewhere, the Hornet Queen is filing a formal complaint. Some people fall into the water. This guy just grabs physics by the collar and says, "Not today." The backflip was cool, but the recovery? Straight up ninja-level reflexes. Somewhere, a dolphin just felt deeply unqualified. Guess that's why this guy is a ninja warrior. That tree got chopped, panicked, and decided to just stand back up. The laws of physics clearly took a coffee break because this should not have worked. Somewhere, an environmentalist just nodded in approval. This was 1 inch away from turning into a medical emergency. If that man's nose had a social security number, it would have been stolen. Instead, he just barely made it and probably called it skill. But that, kids, is how you end up noseless and with a concussion. Bowling is a sport of precision, so naturally, this guy went full wild card and scored a strike where he wasn't even aiming. Some call it luck, some call it skill. I call it pure chaos. But this guy's probably going to think he's on a streak from then on. This man flipped, accepted his fate, and then physics said, "Nah, you're good." The river tried to ruin his day, but he flipped right back like a glitch in a video game. A once-in-a-lifetime fluke and a flippy flip like that will truly mess with your ego. Someone called 911 because kids were sledding. Instead of breaking it up, the cop said, "Nah, we're gonna race." That's how you turn a complaint into a community event and prove not all blues are how we think it is. This lion wasn't having it. Not today, not with these rules. A polite push says, "No selfies today, pal." The king of the jungle has manners, and they're serious about personal space. I'm just waiting for the day the lion's patience runs out.
I just won 250,000. I'm not joking.
Not even a coma can stop this man from winning. One scratch card, one miracle, and just when you thought that was enough, he went and won $250,000. He's clearly a man of good luck and bad timing. It's almost like God's apologizing for that coma.
Oh, please don't kill me.
You have to. Give us a hug.
Some people watch shooting stars. This girl captured one. As meteors fall, some people get lucky, and it turns out she was one of those people who caught the universe in a snapshot. And all over Portugal, photographers who missed the shot are probably crying from jealousy. Football, basketball, trick shot. Some call it luck, some call it a perfect combo of chaos and skill. This guy just kicked a football like a pro, then casually landed it in a basketball hoop without looking. Talk about sports karma. This guy didn't drop his phone, it just had a close encounter with the ground. Miraculously, his hands didn't just catch it, they practically preordained its landing. It's like the phone was his pet.
That is now the talk of campus and beyond.
Most reporters stick to their script. This one just made an unbelievable half-court shot. Blindfolded, like it was his day job. Somewhere, a basketball coach is wondering if they've been doing it wrong all these years.
put that in the story too.
Are you kidding me?
It went in. You know,
Did you see it? Is that on tape?
Yeah.
That was perfect.
This was extreme sports taken to a whole new level. He was barely on top of it, but somehow stuck the landing. Gravity had a moment, but it didn't win. Tuber wins. But that's all filled with luck to the next level. When it comes to UFO catchers, most people get lucky if they snag one candy. But this girl, she just kept winning. Candy after candy. She collected like a pro. It was like she had a magic touch. Boy, is the 8-year-old in me jealous.
Yeah.
Talk about a heart-stopping moment. The paraglider's parachutes tangled, and for a second, it seemed like they were heading for disaster. But with some quick thinking and precise moves, he managed to steer them both to safety. If I'm on a flight, I want this guy next to me. Just when it looked like the drone was going to hit the ground, a passerby swooped in and caught it in midair. It was like something out of a slow-motion action scene, and the drone got a second chance and saved the guy several $100. Speed, skill, and pure control made this boat ride something extraordinary. He didn't just go fast, he one-wheeled it through the water, showing off some next-level boat handling. But something tells me it's only good if you're riding solo. I definitely wouldn't want to be his passenger. This could have been a disaster, but somehow the truck weaved through traffic, missing every car in its path. Brakes out of the picture, it was all about luck and skill that got this driver out alive. The driver better go and get the lotto after a streak like this. This tortoise wasn't just being slow, it was being sly. With a quick head smack, it teased the other turtle before retreating back to the water like nothing happened. Ah, to be a tortoise messing around like this. This seagull wasn't just flying, it was commuting. As the train stopped, the bird casually got off, looking like it had a full day ahead. Honestly, it makes sense. The poor gull's probably exhausted from flying. This donkey didn't just stand there, it laughed at the dog's misfortune as it got shocked by the electric fence. Sometimes animals just know how to make you feel like you're not the smartest one in the yard, even if they're a literal donkey. It was an elephant masterpiece, an outline of its own form, painted with precision and care. Art isn't just for humans anymore. But hey, if it makes you feel any worse, a literal elephant is a better painter than you. The tourist made a noise, and the lion immediately matched it. It turned into a strange, yet fascinating contest, with both seeing who could outdo the other. Just listen and you'll realize the lion seems to know what's going on. Cheeky, cheeky. The marmot gave a little nudge and retreated back, almost as if apologizing for the small mishap. A simple, silent act of animal etiquette. Ugh, isn't it annoying when animals have better manners than we do? When the mama deer heard the baby crying, she instinctively moved towards it, mistaking it for her own. It was a natural response. The bond between mother and child is universal. Looks like Mama Deer was going to call Parks and Wildlife on this human mama.
She thinks you're her baby.
The kangaroo had no idea what a punching bag was, but it knew one thing: it was time to kick. With swift jabs and kicks, it went to town on the bag like a natural. But imagine being the homeowner who caught this one out.
Swinging a foul right back into the screen to stay alive. Our first beer
The baseball wasn't aiming for the beer cup, but it took a detour and nailed it. And this guy? Pure legend. Just caught it with his face and kept going. That's how you handle unexpected curveballs in life.
Of course, it was just a beer that got him in the face. He stood up and gave everybody a bow.
That truck just flirted with disaster and then backed out at the last second. Full-on Tokyo Drift moment, except nobody gets fined and the cargo actually made it. Somewhere, a trucker is laughing and a traffic cop just aged 5 years.
They shared this photo here from Pine Ridge High School of a raccoon who crawled into a vending machine. There he is, or she.
He cracked the code to get in, but forgot step 2. Now it's just a raccoon trapped in a glass box of shame, surrounded by snacks he probably can't even reach. Talk about the ultimate eyes bigger than your stomach moment. He was about 2 inches away from a full face of regret, but somehow gravity took a break and he stuck the landing. If you told me he planned this, I'd pretend to believe you out of respect. Somewhere, the laws of physics just threw up their hands and walked out of the room.